Alright you guys, so after using this phone for a while and testing it to its true capabilities, one quote that kept popping into my head while I was using this, after a couple of days was flagship phone and a mid-range body. And before I give you guys my reasoning for this quote, the introduction is always important, so here you guys go.
This is Al.
Hey, what's up you guys? It's Naseem here, aka Seem the Dream, aka Nas Tech, and today I will be giving you guys my final analysis based on my day-to-day use with the Galaxy S20 Fan Edition. Now, the reason that I give this phone that quote, flagship phone in a mid-range body is for the simple fact that, if I'm really being honest with you guys, this is the best mid-range that I have ever seen in the smartphone community. And I say that because everything that I needed, for this smartphone to do to prove that it was the best mid-range, to prove that, according to Marques Brownlee, that it was the top phone of the year, it certainly has exceeded in. And from the camera to the software to the display to the smoothness, everything this phone has done has proved to me that it is the top of the notch mid-range phone. And to back up these claims, I have some reasons, as to why I think that this is the best mid-range phone that the smartphone community has seen. And why not start with the software? Now, the Samsung Galaxy FE has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865, which I must say is very impressive because they actually put a chip in here that they will put in a flagship, and I really could tell the difference. There was no lag, and also this phone just had many different features. Also the fact that it ran incredibly smooth, and that was very evident because of the 120 hertz refresh rate screen, which I must say a lot of mid-range phones are kind of scared to do. But adding a 120 hertz refresh rate screen on not a flagship phone is definitely something that I can commend Samsung for. And it really shows that they're trying, especially not just with their top of the line phones, but their phones that are targeted towards the average consumer. With the 12 megapixel and 8 megapixel system on the back, I definitely felt like each of them complemented each other with the color, the vibrancy, and even the zoom lens, which I must say was much more impressive than I thought. Because if you are like me, and when I was going over the spec sheet and I seen 30 times zoom, I definitely felt like it would have been a gimmicky feature based upon first looks. But after using the 30 times zoom on the camera, I would definitely say that this is a very practical feature. And I also loved how, when you did the 30 times zoom, it will also show, the whole picture, so you would actually know where you're at, which is something that I must say was very good because it made it even more practical. And not only was it practical, but it also had very good quality. It had much more texture with a little less color, but I definitely am not, tripping off the trade-off. And to give you guys, a better visual on how the camera did, here are some visual pics as to, how it worked, how it added more color in different photos, and how it handled, lack of sunlight. And now another thing that I liked about this phone was the battery. And the reason that I liked the battery was for the simple fact that, even on the spec sheet, it was definitely an upgrade from the regular S20, which I must say is definitely a plus in my book, for the simple fact that the S20 is considered a flagship while this phone is actually considered a mid-range. So like I said, it really goes to show you how much effort these guys are putting in towards the mid-range status. So even before I got to, use this phone, already based on the spec sheet, I was thoroughly impressed. But after using this, for a couple of weeks, I've come to find that this battery is truly amazing. And I was using this phone as my daily driver, and I typically do a lot on this phone, from playing games to browsing social media to watching YouTube. And I found myself around 30% battery after doing all that. And towards the end of the day, I still had much more battery left. But something that I really loved about, Samsung when it came to the battery on this phone was the simple fact that they also included a fast charger. So, as far as battery, this thing hit every point that I ever needed, because, it would charge extremely fast and it will last extremely long. And now that we went over, the software, the battery, and the camera, the last and final thing that I really loved after day-to-day use with this phone was the price. And what I mean by that is, it kind of doesn't add to the day-to-day use experience, but I felt much better after spending, this price. And it definitely made me much happier. And the simple fact that this phone has a 120 hertz screen with a top tier Qualcomm flagship processor with a top of the notch 3 camera system and an on-screen fingerprint sensor, a Face ID, reverse wireless charging, 5G support, and fast charging, all for $700 is the most amazing part of this phone. And in my honest opinion, this is the very reason why I agree with MKBHD on making this the top phone of 2020, because this phone has every single thing that a flagship phone has, but at a mid-range price. And if you ask me, that is what makes the ultimate smartphone, because that's what buying a product is all about: getting the bang for your buck and getting the most value out of the money that you're spending. And this is the reason why this is the best mid-range phone that I have seen in the smartphone market. And if you guys liked my full review based on the Samsung Galaxy S20 Fan Edition, be sure to like, share, subscribe, show as much support to the channel as you can. It's very appreciated, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.